But the thing that is kind of not strange or off-putting, but you don't have any like guaranteed engage, right? Sure, you have the ultimate coming out from the Leona, but if that misses, we were here the other day.
Yeah,
did become a big unkillable force.
Baloo the bear in the jungle, but it's up in the top lane that Chenlun's going to be in trouble right now. The bear knocked into the sky, and with his flash on cooldown, there's nothing he can do about this one. Meteor grabbing himself first blood. And it's going to be matched in the top side by Wings with this Rift Herald.
Yeah, and it's also interesting that we see Chenlun in the mid lane, so going with Maple and putting can look for picks in the bottom side jungle with the Chunder Pillar and Zoe hovering.
Meteor moving into the jungle here. XX, the target. Look at the damage. Sleepy Trouble Bubble should easily finish this one off. Meteor with a second kill. Now double TP's come on through. Chenlun is the first one here, but he needs to get out of there as well. Orianna with a bit of damage on the backline, but Chenlun ain't that tanky just yet. Knockups galore. Hook doesn't hit though. Stun to get over the wall, and Fofo gets it with a bubble.
And overall, BLG doing so well. They're actually going to be able to...
They're not done. They're not done just yet. Light is obviously the target here on Aphelios. They just let I1D run because they want to shut down Moonboy.
And this is...
LNG going to move in to try and contest this one. With the Ren, though, the Dragon goes down, and LNG just go wide on the Zenith blade, so they're not going to be able to force the engage. Fate's call.
LNG going to be able to answer on the turret, but this isn't really going to amount to any sort of pressure. Just a bit of gold in their pockets.
Yeah, just going to minimize that gold lead. So
Game
still
goes late enough. We always have some kind of huge shockwave into Moonlight Vigil play coming out from LNG.
Or just make a play right now, because Wings forced out of the fight, and Meteor completely alone all of a sudden. No flash available, and he's 1v5.
Throw down that up. I guess not confidence, not wanting to risk that on a 50-50 play.
We got to fight. Teleport coming in. I1D the target to start this one off, and with a Trouble Bubble, Stopwatch keeps him alive, but not for long.
Yep.
Arguably a waste of a stopwatch, in all honesty.
It was definitely a bit of a waste. And now, hey, you still have Rift Herald up.
Hang on. We've got more on our hands, though, because Maple, I don't think, can get away. Flashes over the wall. XX now the target. He's going to back away for himself. Light, desperate to get this red buff, but we all know he's not grabbing it. Meteor to get that one. Now onto the Volibear, jumps over the wall. The Trouble Bubble ignored because of the ult. Very nicely done. XX now in the mid lane. Has to collateral damage just to get to safety. And even a bonus charge to the Herald.
Like Munch, I know it's against LNG, but this is supposed to be two evenly matched teams in this matchup, but BLG is doing what can fans say, okay, this is going to be us seeing can these teams play to their win conditions. BLG have definitely done bringing back in Chenlun, who was struggling a bit himself, but also the team seemed really awkward to play around his identity, where he definitely looks better.
Oh my days, the damage coming out from Fofo. I1D's going in. The combo from LNG.
Yeah. Also really interesting, they're going for this. They do get it.
Taken by Wings there. Shinmo wants to find a fight. He's onto Light as well. And there goes the AD carry. Pop goes LNG. And now onto the rest of the team as well. Kingen arriving as I1D is going to be the next one to go. Chenlun forced out with his ultimate. And it's a double kill for Wings. And everything going BLG. This is going to be Soul now for BLG. They're in a phenomenal position to close this one out. BLG this summer.
Ooh, and we're also seeing more coordination onto Chenlun.
This Volibear pick has not been working out for Chenlun this game. He's not really been able to find much. Knocked up, and he will be finished off once again.
Out as well.
Meteor could get caught out here. This is the power of the Leona, but I1D misses the ult. Fofo going in as well. Moonlight Vigil used. That is a ton of ultimates used by the side of LNG. And now they're getting collapsed on Chenlun. Gets into the backline. Shockwave hits no one. And that could be disastrous now as they get collapsed upon. Ren comes on through, and everybody's starting to fall. Keep your eyes on Light. He is the hope right now for LNG. Jumping forward, gets a shutdown, gets two for himself, but still goes down. Maple, the last man standing, and will get chomped on through by Meteor. A fight for BLG. Trying to make that play happen. Did actually get 2 kills for himself, but ultimately wasn't quite enough. And you can see why they didn't try and push an end, right? There is no damage between these three players. You got burst damage out of Fofo. Strong with boots. They can just bounce between mid and bottom lane and just do so much work onto these towers. That'll be the mid inhib going down here. And LNG, I don't know when they're going to make this Hail Mary play, but their base is falling apart.
I mean, realistically, I guess at this point, you just wait as long as possible, hope you can get some more damage items in. But Elder's coming up in actually 25 seconds, so you can't do that.
Yeah.
Kingen's still hovering, putting a bit of pressure mid.
Oh, I1D's going in. The fight is going to go, but Eclipse goes wide here. Knockups across the team as XX the target. Kingen with the knockup, and down go the health bars. LNG gonna fall on this one. Chenlong giving his best, goes into the team but doesn't have the damage, and with that, the tower will eventually fall in onto Maple. Shinmo trying to make the play happen, and Wings here to follow it up now. TP being channeled by Kingen, who's coming back into the fight once more. Another one for Wings. We said we wanted to see this LDL AD carry making his mark, and that he has. 7-1-5 on the Kalista, and BLG show us why they're in the LPL.
And Munch, a coordinated BLG was not something I thought I'd ever see, even when I predicted. Well, and we said we don't really know what are good answers to Volibear as of yet. We've seen some scaling picks like Fiora and Kale come out, but Renekton is the one you traditionally think of. Just hasn't panned out here. You
mentioned how you wanted to see the junglers moving to the top side. We're going to see exactly that. Meteor charging in, but XX is around as well. Flandre solo already. Look at the damage. He doesn't even get to Predator to get closer to the play. I think Dragon's just going to go down, though, before they can make anything happen. Iwandi's here. He's taking the wrong route, though, and he will be punished for this one. Damage coming on through. There's a trouble bubble, and the electrocute finally plays off.
Ooh, and we have both ultimates blown in the top side.
Those are some big beasties up at the top lane. Flash away from the lightning. Kingen is getting low on this one. Maybe we have found the answer after all. Flandre finds the 1v1. Counter to that point. Ezreal has been seen somewhat as like a pseudo counter to the Aphelios, just outranging. Iwandi for a second time now, gonna be caught out. This time no summoners, means he just goes straight down. Really great for moving in to try and contest this dragon. This is gonna be a smite off between him and Meteor. Meteor incredibly low, doesn't get the dragon either. And now we see LNG trying to back away from this one. Shimmer with a perfect stopwatch, but it's not good enough. XX finishes the kill. Meteor chasing forward. Realizes he can't close the gap though. In the meantime, they get the dragon. Fofo has been consistently winning this mid lane matchup. It's felt like he has had so much more of an impact in this game. And
this is also a skill matchup in the mid lane. It's not one-sided. Ooh, this is a bit one-sided though.
This is very one-sided.
I mean, I guess it should be one-sided. We have a 60 CS lead and a huge item advantage coming in as well. But
you'd hope it's one-sided at this point in the game. Flandre doing a great job. And let's bear in mind, it was Chenlong playing game number 1. Really didn't work out for them. Flandre comes from the skies here. He's still out of vision for now. Everyone relatively grouped on the side of LNG. Solar Flare's on cooldown though. That's going to be an important factor here. Jumps over the wall, gets into the fight, and somehow they get the Drake for themselves. Now onto the rest of the team as XX is low but flashes to safety. It's only Kingen to go down.
I think it feels all right for BLG.
I'm just kind of confused about how that went down, how BLG were able to grab that dragon. Being a shot calling, BLG deciding to move up towards the top side of the map here. They're going to try and even the difference in towers up just a little bit here.
It's not being even Munch because, yeah, I was going to say, on our mini-map, Flandre is left alone with this turret.
Oh my goodness, LNG looking for 5 towers at a time right here. Down to go. Look at that, 5 but LNG, they're not looking for standard play. They're looking for picks right now. Meteor the target and chunked out, taking down Fofo the next one. BLG moving in though. They're not going to let this one go without a fight. Meteor is dead though, so there's no smite available. Taken now by XX as LNG.
It started off looking all right for BLG, right? They found the gank in top lane. They got Kingen. Not a lead, but got him a kill. Got him a...
Yeah, I mean, Flandre's kill was a solo kill as well, actually. He managed to find the 1v1
Oh, yeah,
Kingen.
you're right. Yeah, it was
Hang on, we've got a fight on our hands, though. Maple is already low, but so is Fofo. We talked about Flandre being a big old croc, but he's going to flash to safety. Couldn't quite finish off the kill onto Fofo. So a couple of carries low. For the dragon, realistically, the focus, not the kills here. As we have a bit of a reset. BLG the ones to start this one off.
Coming in on the flank.
Both of our junglers equal level. Flandre getting in onto the backside. He's straight on towards Meteor. And that is going to guarantee this dragon. Very nicely done by LG to take what was already theirs. Now onto the tower once more. LNG should be able to finish this one off. Light happily able to step forwards here. Maple tanking, I think. But so, it doesn't matter if he knows about dragon, because it's gone down.
BLG going with an alright answer. Going to get some damage on mid-lane turret. We expect him to peel up towards top side.
Do we, though? Because Fofo's been caught right here. He has to use a cleanse. Cleanses across the board here. XX looking to close this one out as Flandre on the flank here has the dominance, but they're just going to start the fight on towards him. Slice and dice away. I think BLG have got away with this one.
Yeah, I feel like LNG could have been more aggressive. They weren't on the same page. You can see Flandre clearly wanted to keep going. Feels like Light was a bit
But LNG are just going to say, hey, look, let's make the macro play here. Let's go straight down towards the mid lane. Let's give BLG a taste of their own medicine straight on towards an inhibitor tower. And LNG looking to win this trade out. Down goes the tower. Very nicely done here.
Well, and this also goes to BLG over.
Twice before here, Larry.
It doesn't sound like a statement that it's that outrageous.
Yeah. Maybe LNG not quite knowing how to close things out here. Maple has been found. The damage from Wings, you asked for him to start landing those Qs, and he has. Now BLG with an advantage in the fight onto iWandy, who walks away, but XX has found himself on the wrong side of the play, jumps into the pit, but the Baron will finish him off himself. Wings now themselves a Baron, and while it's been a much slower paced game than what we saw in the first one of today, it's still now, like, let's bear in mind, LNG still with the gold lead. They can win fights.
Keep an eye on Flandre because he has flash.
iWandy misses the hook. The poke is coming down. Solar Flare there as well.
God.
iWandy is going to fall, surviving for now, but finished off by the bear. XX is going to be going down as well. Flandre tries to get in, but realistically, there's just nothing he can do. Now a trouble bubble onto Light. Everything has fallen apart for LNG. They had this game in the books, but BLG aced them once more.
Munchables, they had a 5,000 gold lead. Everything was looking good for them. Even in that last fight right there, not coordinating and engage. Is this game over?
The audience didn't have enough faith. Lyric, it's all gone wrong for LNG. LNG is a team that I want to love. It's a team I want to succeed in the LPL. But with a lead like that and a loss like this, it's just not a team I can get behind right now. BLG, though, with Meteor stepping back into the roster, look fantastic with a 2-0.
Gragassy's down, Cask is down. We saw Flandre use the Dominus. It's like, well, they're probably not going to jump on us anymore. Let's charge in, keep them at arm's length, throw down this poke, and got him back in the game.
I mean, staying at arm's length is the perfect situation for BLG with these compositions. With an Ezreal, with a not a Yuumi, a Zoe in the mid lane. As soon as you say Ezreal, Yuumi is the next champion that comes into your head, but just being able to layer out this poke, but also being able to chase down. Like, you don't get to run away from Ezreal. If you're trying to run away as a Renekton and Ezreal is chasing you, you're just constantly slowed by the Iceborne Gauntlet. And it meant BLG could just chase them. And that fight in the mid lane, I think, was the most important one, where Flandre clearly wanted to go in, pop the Dominus, but they just don't really make the thing happen.
And it's so weird because they're not... We were talking a lot about BLG having good synergy going in at the same time. And then we saw for LNG, it's like, okay, you can see Flandre wants to go in, but he's not going in. You could see XX throw out his ult and miss right away. And it's like, well, he's not Eing in either. What do they want to do? What's the communication? Where's the plan here? It looked like there was the semblance of a plan, but they just weren't confident or didn't know how to execute on it.
It feels like LNG kind of looked like what we've seen out of BLG this split, where it was like just discoordinate. Honestly, they could do with Meteor coming back into their roster. Unfortunately, he was never in their roster, so it's difficult for him to come back in. But that seemed to fix everything for BLG. And I'm memeing here, but let's just talk about the fact that BLG, this is an important win for them because both of these teams, as we said, still plenty of time to climb up the standings. And when you look at the schedule so far, BLG, they've played FPX, they played E-Star, which they actually managed to win that one. They played V5, they played Top Esports. Their schedule ahead is easier than the schedule they've had so far.
Yeah, I agree. And what's another important thing to notice now, both of these teams are 2-4 in the standings. So another massive win to try to leap up over someone in a similar standing as you.
And importantly, on game difference, they are now exactly tied. So BLG win on the head-to-head on that one. When we look at the damage, it was down to Wings at the end of the day. Despite him missing quite a lot of Qs in the mid-game, it has to be said. Those team fights, he was able to consistently follow up.
That's the important thing, right? We saw him be a bit quiet in the early stages of the game, but once LNG started giving them opportunities, this man just grabbed them and went for it, and that's why we see him at the top of the damage charts.
I feel like this Zoe pick as well was incredibly influential for BLG. Like, they clearly prioritized it at both of the drafts, and Fofo looked great on it. Most importantly, it wasn't necessarily the follow-up damage he was always able to get, but it was the trouble bubbles that he was consistently able to land against carries that both had cleanse, was still impactful with those.
This is something I know me and you have talked about on broadcast before. He had a clutch factor to him because even the paddle stars he hit at the start of the fight, like when he forced XX to recall right away. So he hit the really clutch paddle stars and hit very good sleepy trouble bubbles that pretty much bought them time. for LNG to eventually make these mistakes and set up for his team to win.
Yeah, I mean, it's that star power that we always talk about, right? And I know Reddit doesn't like Fofo very much, but ultimately, when he's winning your games, if you're a BLG fan, you got to accept that he's a significant part of the team. And
you're going to need him to do well if your team wants to keep finding wins. So overall, everything for BLG being put together today, I would say Game 2, Kingan's performance was a bit rough, and we've seen that this split, especially in lane. He does not look like the same player he was in Spring, but also in Spring, he had a very like small effective champion pool. He can play a lot of champions to a degree, but he had these certain champions in Spring was Aatrox and Renekton, Camille that he stood out on. Now it's going to be, hey, can he integrate certain champions like Volibear into his playstyle?
Yeah, that's going to be the big question, and we're seeing a pretty significantly different meta in the top lane, in the jungle as well, from spring to summer. So one of the big questions, not just for these two teams, but across the board in the LPL is how adaptable are the players, especially the newer players coming into these teams, on how well they can play across metas, whether or not they're just like a Kai'Sa one-trick, or if they can move on and change up the style.
And I like that you're saying this is not just for these teams, for everyone, because think about a team that just won JDG, where we're seeing Zoom is finally being forced to branch out onto other champions, to where in spring he was pretty much allowed to play Ornn Mordekaiser like every game. Now he's being forced onto champions like Renekton and Wukong. We're seeing him, a player who was a star, probably the best top laner in the league in spring, have some difficulty. So definitely going to be massive for players like Flandre, King, and Chen Lun, who's a much newer player as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we've even seen glimmers of these kinds of things on the likes of top esports. When we look at JackeyLove, he's very much happy to just sit on the Ezreal and the Kai'Sa and pretty much nothing else. They've been averse to going on that Aphelios. While they have played it a couple of times, and he's looked decent on it, there was definitely questions at the start of the split of like, hey, is JackeyLove limited? I feel like they've sort of been answered at this point, but we can ask those questions of a lot of players in the league at this point, and maybe Maple is one of those players we have to ask the question.